Hello.
Hey Katie, how's it going?
Good. We are live with our first ever Ladies 5 Pin Universe podcast night.
I am just like vibrating right now
I
with
know.
excitement, and I
I
still
know.
can't get over that I look 20 years old in my poster picture, which I
Yeah,
want to
Carrie
thank.
did a good job.
Yeah, I want to thank him for that.
Yeah, I'm like, my hands are a little sweaty. It's different
Yeah,
being like the only ones here without everybody else to fall back on, but
it is. It's way different, but it's really exciting. I'm really eager to kind of share like the next 60 minutes with everyone and really just highlight the voices for her in our bowling community.
yeah, we have a ton of amazing talent coming on tonight from all over the country. But before we get to them, we kind of wanted to. Some people don't really know who we are if you haven't seen us around. So we decided we just kind of want to have fun with everyone. We wanted to think of ways that we could engage everybody, get to know us a little bit. So we're going to start with a little game that we came up with of asking some questions. These are non-bowling related questions. They are
Little
just
rapid fire questions.
random get to know you questions.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, question number one.
Is this
If
for
you were,
me or you?
this is for you, but I can also answer it after you answer it.
Okay, sounds
Okay.
good.
If you were compared to any animal in the entire world, what would it be and why?
Okay, an animal.
An
I mean, there's
animal.
lots of animals.
There's,
Tracy's a sensitive soul. Anybody who knows me, I'm a sensitive soul. But I think I'm going to say a lion.
mm,
And the reason I'm saying a lion is like I'm fiercely protective of my loved ones, my friends, and my family. So, first and foremost. I would say that I've overcome a lot. So just strength and resilience, I think a lion represents. And well, let's be honest, I like to lead, maybe be a little bit bossy.
fair. I think that's a good one for you.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. How about you?
If I had to choose, okay, this is gonna come. People are not gonna, they're not gonna get it at first, but I'm gonna go with a hippo, because
Oh,
like there's a lot of layers to a hippo here. You have they've got like they've mastered the like don't mess with me face. Like when they're just sitting there, they're like, nope, don't do it. And this is something that's come up a lot lately of people coming to me like, why do you look like that? I'm like, it's my face right now. I don't know. The don't mess with me. But then like a hippo's also like super cute in like a not like really cute way and like cuddly. And like, yeah, I'd just be a hippo.
I I see it as one of your most embarrassing moments that nobody's ever let go, right? About one of those stories that's out there. Hence your bowling team
Our
name.
bowl our
I
bowling
would
team
think
name.
that hippos are very gassy.
Maybe.
Maybe that's
It could be that too.
that's
There's
maybe
like
a little bit relatable.
so many layers to the hippos. So many
Anyways, I
layers
wasn't
to the
it up,
hippos.
but I had to.
Fair. Okay, another one. Would you rather wake up extra early every day or stay up extra late?
Easy. Anybody who knows me, I'm an early bird and I can't stay up beyond 7:30. It's challenged. I'm not a
Yeah.
night owl at
No.
all. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is like a trick question for me. I feel like I'm really not a morning person. My kids at school know this. They know
Mm,
not to talk to me before coffee. But then, like, I'm also really not a night owl. Peak Katie is like 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. That's like the golden hours of Katie. We're not
interesting.
really,
I think my golden hours would be like 7 to noon.
yeah, you get lots done in the morning.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's
All
what I
right,
would think.
we'll do one more question here.
Sounds good.
I made these cards at work today. This was a
I'm
great
proud
use
of
of my great use of my time at work. Okay, if you could choose any Olympic sport, summer or winter, to compete in, what would you choose?
you. Can I be that Olympic athlete that does both? Like I
Sure.
do bobsledding for winter and I don't know, cycling for summer?
Oh, that's pretty good.
I'm gonna say
Yeah, I think you
both.
could do both. There's
Yeah.
there's athletes that do both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely choose like the skeleton or the
Wow.
yeah, like I just want
Fast speed,
let's
all
go
in.
all in full send put me on there. What's the worst that can happen?
I love
There's, as anybody who knows me, there's a lot that could happen that's really bad, but what's the worst that can happen?
I
Try
love
it
it. So,
out.
so those guests just know if there's any pause in our segment, we're pulling out those rapid fire
Yeah,
questions.
we have more questions, so be
Yes,
prepared.
amazing. Aw, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, you too. All right. So before we get into bringing our guests in, I know we have been, um, like, I know for myself, overwhelmed by the amount of support throughout all of Canada, the shares of the poster and the announcement that we were going to have a ladies' night. It's super exciting for
Yeah,
us. I know.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think we just want to extend a really warm thank you to Five Pin Universe and the WCBT. Just like super grateful for all of the work that they've been doing the last couple of years, and just the unbelievable growth that our bowling community has seen just because of the impact and the work of those groups, and just giving us an opportunity to have a platform to talk about women and our what we want in the future of our sport. So thank you. We're very grateful.
Yeah. I think there's been so much work done already to advance the sport and to get us to where we are now. So it's just nice that we're able to kind of take that next step representing the ladies and
Yeah, and
continue all the amazing work.
I think it gives them a great opportunity to just have a little bit of a break too. They're just so invested every single week and on the weekends that it's nice for us to have a little bit of a voice, and to be honest, to just give them a little bit of breathing room and a bit of a break.
Yeah, take something off their plate a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it'll be good for everyone involved. I think it'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's been so much incredible things happening in the last since we decided to do this. I know it's been about a
Mm.
month since Carrie reached out to Tracy and I about starting this adventure, and since then there's been so much that's happened. Starting with Masters was this last weekend. We had Masters in multiple provinces all over the country. I know for the Alberta Masters, Tracy and I were both there. We played Saturday at Toppler and Sunday at Chinook. And Jen Baker came out with her, I think, 13th, they said, set of stars.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
sh
Congratulations, Jen. Yeah.
yeah, she shot like a 22-20 at Chinook, which was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then over at Toppler, Jenna Lamoureux came out with her first set of stars, and she shot a 20-57. So that was incredible. Um, there was so much good bowling. Like I know I have them written down because I didn't want to mess anything up here. But
Mm-hmm.
like Bev Magnus had a 965 triple to finish day one. Jerry Lee had an 891 triple to finish in sixth that day. Michelle Manton had a 626 double to come up from and finish her last two games. So like there was some incredible bowling. And then even with the men, we had Adam Weber taking first at Chinook with 23-24, and Tyler took at Toppler 23-17, and he came out, he threw out like a 390, I think, the second last game to put himself in first. So
Yeah, I mean, just incredible bowling too. Katie, like yourself, coming, back into the Masters, and, your first day shooting, 2200, like congratulations.
thank
Is
you.
a
Yeah.
massive, massive score. I think it's just really important to recognize that there were, 10 women that averaged over 250 on the first day. So
Yeah.
like incredible competition. And then also, I mean, we're so close to almost being 50-50 participation between men and
Yeah.
women for the tournament masters this past weekend. So the fact that our participation for women has escalated, obviously Newfoundland always kind of raises the bar a little bit, and there's a lot more interest. But I actually think it goes back to like what's been happening with the sport, particularly since we were able to get back into the lanes after the pandemic. So I just think there's just this huge spark right now amongst all genders, honestly, but women specifically. So just want to say that's super cool. And then also just want to call out some of the information that I do know from the Masters. Alyssa Campbell, like 22.99. I think that's one of her all-time bests. So congratulations to Alyssa out of Manitoba. And then Derek Orn, like 24.04. Like, again, he has just been incredible over the last year and a bit. And so 24.04 is just remarkable. And then BC played as well. So it looks like Brittany DaCosta and Dakota Heth, like both got first place showings on the weekend. And I believe that Connor Levitt actually got 2 wins over the weekend in the men's side, which is incredible, shooting a 22.85 and a 23.55. So it's incredible scores there. And then just sort of last minute reached out to Jeff Young to talk about Ontario. And so we've got a first place win by Kayla Anderson, who looks like she's back playing this year in Masters. So congratulations, Kayla. And then Jeff Young shooting a 43.29. I learned today that they actually do their format quite a bit different. So those numbers are based over 16 games for the whole weekend. So I learned a little bit about that. But, you know, if I missed anybody in terms of master sets, like keep feeding Katie and I all of the information, and we're proudly going to make
broadcast
sure that it's acknowledged. So congratulations, everybody, for awesome Masters weekend.
Yeah. Tracy and I, one of the things we talked about was how we can get all of the information out there of all the amazing scores that are being thrown throughout the country. And one of those that we have already seen was our first guest, actually. So our first guest is from Saskatchewan. She threw a massive triple at the beginning of October. So we're going to take a second. Okay, you're going to have to give me a second here because this is day one, but we're gonna put on the bring in the guest thing, and we're gonna bring in Josie Brooks. Nailed it. We did it.
Hello.
First transition.
Hi, Josie.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us tonight.
First of all, I want to know, Josie, what did you have for dinner that night?
It's funny. I went to Northtown to help my niece, like, coach for a bit, and then I went upstairs to the social bowl at Glen Karen, and I had a mushroom Swiss burger and a pint of Radler before bowling, and I guess that's the trick.
That's it. Hey, you had a massive night. So like 1,096 triple, and like no bad game in there. You had 383, 318, 395 to finish.
Yeah.
How? Like,
yeah, it was big.
Yeah. Did you feel like as you were going through the night that like your pocket was just so big you couldn't really do anything wrong?
Yeah, for sure. I think I punched 2 head pins, maybe I think 3 head pins that night. And for me, like, only punching 3 head pins a night that's a win on its own. So yeah, everything I did, it just felt like smooth and consistent. Like I could have ended with my hand across my body, and it was coming back and getting there. It was that kind of night. It was wonderful.
What do you remember most about that night? Because that's like, it's incredible. I'm sure you're on a high, and, obviously thank you for posting. And I think we need more of that posting out on Facebook in terms of like some of those big moments. So first of all, thank you for sharing it on Facebook, but like walk us through kind of now looking back, what do you remember about that night?
Oh man. The first game was the 318 or the 383, and I was like, okay, that was a great game. It's the highest game for the season. And then I came back and I started with a chop, and I was like, okay. I still hit the middle. It's fine. Finished that game with a 318. And then it was the last game that really just, like, stuck out to me, because the 8th frame, I threw that strike, and I knew that was 1,000 right there. And I turned around and I looked at my dad. I was like, that's 1,000, baby. I was so excited. It was awesome because my parents bowl in that league too, so they were there to actually like witness it, which was super cool for me. But yeah, I would say the 10th frame of that game stuck out more than any of them, because I went strike, And then I punched a head pin in 12 to not only miss the 4, but I missed the 11 too.
Oh man, maybe
Yeah.
just a little bit aware, right? Were you
I
doing
was so
anything?
aware at that point that I
Yeah,
knew I had a big game sitting there. I didn't know what, but I knew it was a big game sitting there. And
Right.
I mean, I'm just happy I kept it on the lane. I'm not going to lie to you ladies. I was shaking.
Just
So
the nerves.
yeah. I can't remember the last time I've heard of a score like that from a female. So,
Yeah.
you know, gives us something to strive for.
Yeah.
Josie, did you find like you were doing anything repetitively that night, or was it really just unconscious for you?
I mean, kind of. Like, I would go up and I would throw my shot, and then I would come back down, and I sat in the same seat. And just before the 4th bowler was up, I would check my phone and just do, like, whatever it was, whether checking the time or scrolling through Facebook. I would just check it, and then I would put it down, and then I would go up and throw my shot. And I tried to do that consistently, like, every ball I threw, every frame.
Yeah, just keeping everything the same.
Just keeping everything the same.
Same feel.
I didn't know. You never know when you're gonna have a monster night like that, right? So anything is big.
Yeah,
So
that's fair. What was your high triple before that? Do you remember?
it was Masters. I want to say like 10, 13. Like,
Okay.
yeah, it was over 1,000, but it was
Significantly lower.
significantly less than what I threw a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's such an amazing accomplishment. So, like, good job. Congratulations.
It feels so good. We threw on those lanes last night, and I like looked back. I was like, oh wow, like I did
was
that.
here.
It's still
I
like
did
it feels so good to even talk about. I have the picture of the games on my fridge, and I'm like, it just feels good to look at it.
Yeah, amazing.
You earned it. That's amazing.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
we really appreciate you having the time to come on and share with us and kind of give us a little bit of insight into what was going through your head that night and how you were feeling on the lanes. And like we said, congratulations. That's an incredible score to put up there. So
Thank you. I appreciate you ladies asking me to come on. This is awesome.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
yeah. All right, we're gonna say goodbye to Josie. Oh, I cut her off. Whoops. Not my best transition.
Well, you're still working through it. It's
We're
all
still
good.
working through it. We're learning as we go. Yeah, we're going to shift our focus a little bit to Autumn Open, which was 2 weekends ago now. So this is kind of the first event of the WCBT season.
It's been fast and furious the first,
Yeah.
30 days, right? With Autumn Open and Masters and highlights
It's
are
been
incredible.
wild. Yeah. So an Autumn Open, we had such a strong showing from the females across Canada. We had 33 females come out and compete, which is up from last year. There was only 15. And like there's lots of reasons for that. COVID, there was, lots of things going on, but to be doubled where we were at last year is incredible for the first event of the year. The ladies threw 50 shifts. So we had 50 shifts thrown and 3 of us made the cut, which is incredible.
It's so good. I want to come from a place like that's unbelievable. I just want to, make sure that we lean in and kind of recognize where people traveled from. So we had 6 women come from BC, 1 from Saskatchewan, 3 from Manitoba. We had 2 from Newfoundland, and then we had 21 participants from Alberta, which is incredible, making up the 33, and just tremendous growth. And, at the end of this podcast, we'll start talking a little bit about what TPC looks like and the participation. So absolutely, overwhelmed, and we want to just kind of keep that fire going, right? Where we can start to get continual growth. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with that, let's bring in our first guest who qualified at the Autumn Open this year, all the way from Newfoundland. Give us 1 second. Hello, Megan.
Hey.
Megan.
How are you, ladies?
We're good. Thank you. How are you?
So
I'm
good.
good, thanks.
Yeah.
Really good. You guys
Thanks
are doing great for your first time out.
Oh, thank you. We were nervous. We'll be honest. We're going to share that because, why not?
It's
But
life. It's real.
I don't know if Josie's going to come back after you cut her off, but
I know.
Right.
Not my best transition. We're
we'll
working
get
on
better. We'll get better. Thanks
Yeah.
for joining us. We know it's a little bit later there.
Oh my gosh, no worries. Thank you for asking. Of course.
Yeah.
You have been having an incredible season so far. We know you won a tour event out on the Newfoundland circuit a couple weeks ago, and then to come out all the way to Alberta, finish 31st in the qualifying round to make the top 40. You shot 2160 for your qualifying shift. Like, that's incredible.
Thank
Pretty-
you. It's been
Consistent.
an interesting past few months and more interesting past couple of weeks for sure. But
Yeah,
no,
even a
it's great
couple
to come on
years,
out.
right?
Pardon me, sorry?
Even the last couple years for you, right? Just
Yeah.
want to talk a little bit about like your road to recovery because there was an injury. I don't know if everybody knows, but we want to know how that looks for you and like how obviously you're feeling much better, but we want you to talk about it.
Honestly, it's to even be able to bowl is like a blessing because there was a very long period of time that I didn't think I was ever going to be able to do it again. I had an injury that had I was in the process of healing and returning to bowling when I got injured at work, and I got attacked by a patient actually, and it resulted in some pretty severe injuries. And yeah, it was really, really dark for a while there, and I was like, it's never going to happen for me. I'm never going to work again. I'm never going to bowl again. I'm never going to do
All these things you
anything, really.
enjoy.
Yeah. And like to be 29 and be like, all right, that's it. That's my life. It's over. There we go. To have come this far and not only be feeling better. I mean, I'm not 100% and that's okay with me. It's way further than I ever thought I was going to be able to get. It was one thing to even be able to bowl. Like the very first time I went and bowled, I threw my first ball and I have never shook so much in my life. Like I've thrown a lot of really big shots in my career and there was none of them that was like throwing that first one. Like I can't even hold on to this ball. How do I do this?
Right.
And the very first ball I threw was a strike and like I teared up. I was like, oh my God.
I can still do this.
And I mean, I threw one ball, so I'm like, Lord knows what lies ahead. But no, I worked really, really hard at it, and I know we went to club tour this summer, and I finished my first shift, and ended up missing the cut. I want to say by like 30, 40-ish, and I started crying as soon as I finished. And Melissa's like, "Oh my gosh, no, it's okay. Like you can bowl again. Like you're fine." I was like, "I don't care about the cut. I just did it." And like it was
Bowled all
an
weekend.
ugly cry, like
Oh.
an ugly cry because I was just so excited to be back doing it. So the success that's come after it is just like the cherry on top of everything because I was just super excited to be back.
Yeah.
I know how difficult this road has been for you. I want to acknowledge that because that's certainly not easy what you've had to be, go through even mentally and physically. But it's obviously taken a lot of work for you to kind of recover physically and mentally, and even the investment in your game. What have you been doing to kind of get back on track?
It started a lot with I had to do a lot of physical therapy. I was at physio every single day and upwards of like 8 hours a day at some point. My physiotherapist and the whole crowd was, they'd always joke at me saying they were going to have to put me on the payroll or something because I spent more time there than the rest of them. And then once I got strong enough, I continued like every day at the gym. I still go to the gym every day trying to build up that strength. But the biggest thing actually was my journey through PTSD. I always was a big advocate for mental health and mental well-being. I mean, I dealt with it on the daily in my job. I saw it regularly. So I was always like a big advocate, but had never really experienced anything like that myself. So going through therapy, I mean, as hard as it is and as difficult as dealing with like a mental illness is, the process of healing is is so therapeutic in so many different ways. So I've even said, like, when I'm down bowling, I always thought that I had a pretty strong mental game, but I think now it's actually even stronger than it ever was before, because like I understand myself better, I understand my emotions better, I can harness those a little bit better. And my passion for, you know, the mental side of the sport definitely is increased tenfold, because it, I think, is the biggest component for my recovery, my success, because there are a lot of days that you're like, you know, it's not working. I'm in way too much pain. This is never going to happen. It feels like I've never bowled before. What is this? And like, to be able to get through all of that and deal with those tough days, those tough practice sessions, those tough whatever moments, I think is so important, and why I push so much for people to really focus on the mental side of the game, because it gets you through a heck of a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair. So looking ahead to the rest of the season, are you coming to TPC? Did you sign up for Manitoba?
TBC we can't make, unfortunately. Just the scheduling of it is not for us at the moment. We are registered to go to Manitoba. Still obviously having to iron out a few of the details, but we'd definitely like to get to as many cash tournaments as we can. It gets a little tricky just because like it's such a long way to travel.
And a big expense to come out.
Yeah, it is a lot of money to come out, but
to get off the island.
Yeah. And that's assuming the weather is like good enough for us to actually leave.
Mhm.
But no, the plan is to try and get to as many as we can. It's nice that there's a lot more club tour events going around as well, simply because, you know, it's the closest to us.
Yeah.
The NBT has been really great as well. I know a lot of Newfoundlanders have difficulty making it to these tournaments. So even though it might not be as big and it might not be as glamorous, it's been such a huge part of bowling in the community. And definitely for me, my first tournament back was the NBT, and I was so excited. Like, it was the first tournament I had ever bowled. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait.
I'm back.
Right.
In a big
So,
way.
yeah, as many tournaments as I can get to, that's the plan.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Last question. You know, you've obviously overcome some personal challenges for yourself, and thank you for sharing those. But you know, what's your goal, your big dream for this season?
I've been asked it quite a few times, and honestly, I don't think I have an answer for it, because my ultimate goal is just to be grateful and to enjoy what a lot of bowlers take for granted, like the ability for us to compete, the ability for us to do these things, to, you know, travel across the country, to make friends all over. And it's not until that's like forcibly taken away from you that you really realize how lucky and how fortunate we are to have it. So I think I just want to be grateful for the progress that I've made, and just enjoy being back, whatever that looks like for me, whether it be all the tournaments, whether that be none of the tournaments. I just want to enjoy being back and competing. I know, like, bowling the Autumn Open, first of all, was just excited to be there. To make the finals was like mind-boggling to me. And like the whole time, I mean, the first, I want to say 5 or 6 games were absolutely heinous. Like, I've never thrown so many headpins in my life. And the entire time I was just there, like, I am just grateful to be here, right? Like, no, don't get me wrong. It would have been nice to maybe have a couple more strikes, but like the entire time I was just there, and I'm like, I am here and I am doing this, and
I'm bowling on a Sunday.
Yeah. So I think that's my goal, is just to continue being grateful for what I have.
It's a beautiful message. And Megan, we're super proud of you.
Thank
being, you know, the only woman who advanced into, you know, the top 16, and just wish you nothing but the best as you move forward for this whole year.
Thank you so much. And thank you for everybody who's been supportive of me through this, not just the past like couple weeks or months, but like throughout this entire journey. I definitely would not be here without all of you rock stars.
Only a text away.
Right.
Yeah. Awesome.
Thanks.
Thanks for
No,
joining
thank
us.
you. Thank you.
We'll see you later, Megan.
Sounds good, honey. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Wow.
So, yeah. What
Yeah.
a story, eh?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine. But she's like,
It goes back to the goosebumps, right? Like
Yeah.
that's pretty
and I
incredible.
love just
It's
like the message of like not taking it for granted, right? Like
Mhm.
we
There's
get
a
to go out
learning
and
there.
compete on the weekends, and it's a good mindset to have of not letting it get away from us, right?
Yeah.
Well, moving on with our Autumn Open qualifiers, we're up to our 28th qualifier. So we're going to bring her in here. Jen Smith.
Hello.
Hey,
Hello.
Bessie.
Ugh.
How's it
Are you
going?
sitting in the dark or?
No, I don't know why it's so dark.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Just a little layer.
Yeah, I
okay.
don't know what's going on.
It's
Just-
mood lighting. It's okay. It's
There
mood.
you go.
Yeah.
It's about the mood I'm in right about now.
Yeah,
Oh,
sure.
oh, okay then.
Well,
That's it,
welcome.
say, right?
Welcome to the show. We are so happy to have you. You had a fantastic weekend at the Autumn Open, qualifying 28th, shot 21.71. Tell us about it. How'd it go?
Well, you know, the Friday that I played, I was really happy with the way I played. I still left a lot of pins on the deck, like a lot of missed spares, a lot of opens in 9 and 10, and that continued on to Sunday. Like I was awesome for 7-8 frames, and then when it came to finishing games, I was opening 9 and 10, either punching or just missing spares, and that's not normally my game. And to fall 30 pins shy, it's a little frustrating.
Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't finish games, and it's so uncharacteristic. So,
And that's the most frustrating time to have
Yeah.
that happen in like frame 8, 9, 10, where you're like, it was such a good start. And then
yeah,
here we are.
exactly.
Yeah.
Jen, I was standing behind you for your last couple of games there, and I just want to talk about kind of, I know it doesn't always come down to like the last frame of event, but I
No.
kind of wanted to talk about that moment because I was there with you. You know, did you know what you needed that last frame? What were you thinking towards the end? Did you know you were kind of close but weren't sure? Like,
Well, you kept me in the loop a lot and helped me focus on executing good shots. And I was pretty sure that first strike was very important. Then when I got roasted on the corner, it just, at the end of the day, it didn't matter. Because even go spare count, it's now you fall shy 10, 15 points instead of 30. So
yeah, I mean, you were really fierce that last game in particular, right? I think you might have thrown four strikes in a row right there in the middle. And then I think you might have punched, if I recall. And I think if we could have changed that out a little bit, I think it might have changed the momentum a little bit for you. But I know you're pretty hard on yourself in general. And because you did play so amazing, it would have, obviously been nice to have, more women in the top 16, and you certainly were close. And we just want to let you know that we're still super proud of you. You're still super fierce in the game.
Force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, 100%. I just want to pivot gears a little bit just because we do have Jennifer Smith on the podcast and we want to be able to leverage a Hall of Famer. So I'm going to pivot a little bit, but we just kind of wanted your thoughts on, the increase of participation that we saw at the Autumn Open and just your thoughts around that.
oh my God, like I've played the Autumn Open since way back in the Chinook days. And to see the increase year after year after year, it's absolutely amazing. And the WCBT has put so much effort into bringing bowlers out. You couldn't do it without the teamwork and the dedication that they've put in to push these events. And people are traveling. And I think you're right, Tracy, with COVID and people not being able to play for a few years, the itch is there and the drive is so strong. They're going to do any event they can.
Yeah, and I think like Jen, I agree. I mean, it's almost like you welcome more female players on the tour,
Yeah.
right? Because I think we get better through that lens. I also think we get better by playing, the men. We talk a little bit about how certain females tick like men. You are one of them. Talk to me a little bit about like how you learned that fierceness. Often, I know we've talked just privately, that your drive is as fierce amongst
Intensity.
many. Yeah. So
Like even just I've noticed it watching you play that there's always just that intensity in your game and in your shot.
And
where did it come from, Jen? Where did that come from?
I don't know. To be fair, like it's not taught. You can't be fierce in any sport. No one can tell you to go out and be fierce. I think when you start succeeding and you are determined to do better every time, I will say my dad always said to me, like after I would win an event, my dad would always say, well, you still have this to accomplish. You can go out and do this. So that kept me hungry for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I will admit, like after my dad passed, my drive, it's still there, but my desire to play events really isn't there.
Yeah, we talked about where it's changed a little bit for you. Instead of being an individual performer, you much more enjoy more of that team atmosphere and being amongst, the sea of ladies, right? Not that you're not trying to, have a top performance, right? Like, because you are. I've seen it plenty of times. So I do get that. What's next? What's next for Jen Smith? What's your big goal?
Well, definitely Masters for Newfoundland is definitely on the bucket list because that's an event that no one else can top. When you're out there on the rock, it's something that's truly amazing. But other than that, TPC will be away. So that's a no-go. And then, December is really hectic for us. And then we're away just before Masters. So get that refresh, reset.
That'll feel nice. Yeah, well, we wish you nothing but the best and hope that you accomplish that big goal for the season. Obviously, there's a group of us who would love to join the journey, but it's gonna be a tough ride this season in Alberta. I think just because of the female participation and the growth and the youth that has occurred now. So see what happens.
I think the tougher houses are going to play more into effect too, with us being Stettler and Innisfail instead of Heritage. I think that's because you have a group that shoots big scores at Heritage that really helps them out. And then you have your group that is just steady Eddie through any house that they play in, right? So I think come 3 and 4 this year, you might see some changes just on the toughness on playing those two centers. Stettler can score well, but Innisfail is tough.
It is, yeah.
It's going to really force people to trust and execute their shots.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks for taking the time. I know you got a busy household and
bedtime coming up.
Kids who aren't always feeling well, and you're not well rested most nights. So we appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, and good luck at TPC, guys.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Amazing.
All right. Every time I watch her play, like I've never had an opportunity to play with her being in Edmonton, and she's always been in Calgary, right? But every time I watch her play, just the intensity, I'm like, ooh, she's intimidating.
It's in the face, and everybody knows what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a bad thing. It's just her way.
Yeah, no, it's good. And our last qualifier from Autumn Open that we're going to bring in, our youngest one, Miss Michaela. We're going to bring her in right away.
Ooh.
Hello.
Hey guys.
How's it going?
Good. I mean, I think so. See, I wonder if the Yankees are winning, but
Oh goodness, like we're fast approaching a big birthday.
only like 16 or something.
16?
Something like 16, only 16.
Only
Yet
16.
I can't drive, so so
So
it's
young.
not as big.
I still remember you coming up to TPC a couple years ago for like the invitational, and I was like, "Who's this Michaela?" And they're like, "She's 14." I'm like, "Cool." If that doesn't make me feel old, that she's kicking my butt all over the place, like I don't know what does. So
I get it a lot. It's okay.
yeah,
You know what? It's sometimes it's like, oh, like 15? No, yeah, okay.
yeah,
Sometimes I'm
yeah.
like, no,
I
I'm
mean, no
actually
big
like
deal.
turning 16 really soon. Like
Yeah,
I always throw in 16. Like I'm
I'm
practically 16.
I'm 15 and 3/4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what it's like right now.
Well, our youngest player, our youngest female qualifier on the tour, our highest female qualifier at Autumn Open, 25th seed qualifier, 2188 for 8 games. How did it feel?
It felt good. I mean, after 3 qualifying shifts because, you know, takes a little bit sometimes.
It happens.
But I don't know.
You do 5.
It's kind of crazy to me sometimes just because I mean I go into these tournaments and obviously I try my best, but like if I don't make the cut, I don't make the cut. Like it's a crazy thing to do when you make a cut, and it doesn't matter how good of a bowler you are because these scores now are so high. And so I mean, like to come out on end and throw the score that I needed, like it felt great. Like that's my second cut that I've made. So, I mean, I think this would be my 4th tournament now that I've played.
Yeah.
So I'm 2 for 4.
Yeah.
So,
You had
Let
such-
let me remind you what happened.
oh, all right.
But take us back, Tracy. Rewind our mind.
I mean, I'm one of your biggest fans, and I thank you
Oh,
for everything that you've
I'm one of
given
your
to me in
biggest fans, so it's
my life. But start with a 360, Michaela.
yeah.
233, 335, 306. So your quad to start was a 1234,
Mm-hmm.
and
Wild.
that would have been a 308 average in your first 4 games of the event. And you still played fabulous after, right? 236, 218, 265, 235. But to throw a 1234 quad at 15 and a
outrageous.
like almost 16 years old.
Yeah.
No
Obviously,
big deal.
we've got quite a few, youth coming up, female players. I mean, we'll have a whole podcast, honestly, on Akira as well, and just in terms of like what's happening there. But I do feel it's important. Like you're the future of the game, and you're one of the youngest female players that we've had on the tour with massive success early on. I mean, last year was just an incredible journey for you. I mean, the way that you played last year at TPC, throwing a perfect game in a tour event most people wouldn't accomplish, male or female. It's tremendous. Flipping the gears a little bit, just want you to talk a little bit about your confidence and doing that at such a young age. I want you to share a little bit about what that confidence journey has been for you.
Well, I mean, I went to my first nationals when I was 9 years old, but just before I went there, I had gone to like the Open Provincials in 2015 2015. So it was a year before, but seeing all these adult bowlers bowling the way they were, like, and I had never really been to an adult tournament yet. Like I had, but this was like the first one I kind of remember, and it's kind of like where I started that confidence and like, well, I want to be like all these adults. Like I want my future to look the same. Like I want to make these nationals, and that's my confidence just grew. And then it's different for every tournament, I guess. Like like youth nationals or whatever. Like I guess it's different because I put way more pressure on myself than I do in cash tournaments because I don't expect the same like
Mhm.
finish. But I don't know. I've always looked up to people, and that's what grew my confidence. Like watching, and I like pushing to where I want to be. Like, and I want to play up with the adults, and that's how kind of my confidence grew. And
Yeah.
and a comfortable shot, right, and
So
having success.
yeah. So with that in mind, when you're entering these cash tournaments with people double and triple your age, do you have like a goal in mind when you're entering? Like, I want to, is it just I want to make the cut? Is it I want to throw good shots? Like, what kind of goals do you have when you're coming into these cash events?
Um, well, always have fun, I guess. Like it's one of, I don't want to bowl bad, so like if I'm not having fun, I'm probably bowling bad. But
Fair.
making the cut's important, but if I'm still shooting like 2150 and I'm not making the cut, like I'm not upset with that. Like that's a good score, So normally it's like if I'm over 20, like 2000, like that's something like great
It's
for
a
me.
great
And
score.
then
Yeah.
right, like over a 250 average, and then if I make the cut, I make the cut. Like that's just an add to it, right? But
Right.
yeah, no, it's that, and just having like it's just fun. Like I love to go out to these tournaments. Like they're it's the environment's awesome. Like I see people who I only see every like 5 times a year, right? And so that's why like I enjoy them and everything like that.
I have to apologize for blowing my nose on camera, Michaela, during your segment, but I'm getting over a little bit of a cold.
It's okay.
You mentioned that you look up to people, and so I thought this would be actually a really good platform to kind of share, like, who are your mentors and who do you look up to, and like, have you taken a piece of their games to influence your game?
Kevin Holdsworth.
Yeah.
Probably my idol when it comes to bowling, which is funny because it's just like I bowled with on a team with him one year for my second year of Monday nights, and it was like kind of the COVID year, so it was like bowling on and off, but bowling, and like I had never really like experienced bowling with Kevin before, and like I had just been brought up to bowling with the adults, so like, and then coming out and watching the Autumn Open and watching these tournaments, like Kevin has just always been like supportive of me, and like I love watching his game. I love his like aggressiveness and his silly things on the lane.
Antics.
Yeah,
It's
like
what makes him tick.
like I have
Yeah.
photos of me at nationals this year where I'm screaming at my hands. So like,
I love it.
what, Tracy? You're up there with my
Kevin, with
Yeah,
Kevin.
you're up there with Kevin.
Aw.
obviously. For sure. Like we practiced a lot before Masters this year, and
Yeah.
TPC last year. Like honestly, it was crazy for me. I watched you win the Invitational, and I was wowed away, and I was like, I want to be just like Tracy and
We
everything
all
like
want to be just like Tracy.
that, right?
Oh no, I mean, Michaela, like you are critical in terms of like the summer for me and just being there for me. So thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. And obviously my mom, because she's
Yeah.
always on my back.
She's your biggest fan, right?
Yep. And then I just add in for last my Uncle David because
He's awesome.
he's up there. He just
He-
needs an appreciation.
He's all right. He's
Yeah, he's all right.
I love
But yeah.
that.
Amazing.
Michaela, just one last question before I feel like we're making really good time, but I just want to be able to leverage you a little bit. What motivates you to keep striving? I mean, you've got a long amount. If Melissa Manor is listening to this, it can be a long journey, right? So she might be laughing in the background, but because I often say that. So like, what does that look like for you? What are you striving to accomplish?
Well, I have 4 more years left of YBC, so before I can play with all you guys.
Yeah.
Um,
Somehow I feel like you're already 18.
Yeah, I'm like, how does she still have 4 years of YBC left? I don't get it,
Yeah.
but okay.
So I mean, I like for a little bit there, I kind of like walked away from YBC. Like I wasn't putting as much attention towards it than others, and in the cash tournaments, and I didn't make a national. So I mean, I kind of turned my head to what I looked at, and so that's that's I have 4 years left, and I've been to 5 nationals now, and I've medaled at every single one. So now that's my push is
Incredible.
like I wanna go to nationals every year, and if it's 1 or 2, like 2 would be awesome. And I want to medal at every one. Like, and I obviously go for the gold every time. But a medal is a medal to me. Like it doesn't matter if it's gold, silver, or bronze. Like
A
you know,
national medal is an
yeah,
incredible
national medal's a
accomplishment.
national medal. So that's where my push is at right now. And when cash tournaments come up, like you know, it's a fun weekend and see what happens there. So
Amazing.
I love
Yeah.
it. We're so proud of you, Michaela.
yeah, thank you.
Looking forward to
Thanks.
the future.
Yeah,
Well,
thanks so much for
thank
joining
you.
us tonight.
Yeah, thank you. This is awesome.
Okay, bye, Michaela.
All right.
There we go. Couldn't find it. All right. Wow. There was some incredible bowling at Autumn Open.
Yeah, agreed.
It's wild.
Mhm.
So when we look ahead, we're kind of now shifting our focus away from Autumn Open, thinking about the season ahead. And we are so lucky within the WCBT tour that we have a fantastic group of people and ladies who just want to continue to expand the sport and expand the ladies participating and bringing people in. And already this season, when we think about the WCBT season, last season we had 8 members sign up and like get their membership for ladies. And this year we've already had 10 sign up at Autumn Open, with more to come at the events to follow. Last year we had 51 individual players, so we've already hit a big chunk of that. Like the tour is growing so much from the 2021 season, and the ladies on the tour are they're showing up, and I think that's going to be seen again at TPC. And it's amazing to think that we have these people who are willing to help support the ladies and help get them here.
Agreed. And I mean, just a nice segue, I think, before we introduce our next guest, Katie, is like, it's important. I would, definitely encourage like any female who's playing the tour to like believe in themselves and actually, take on a WCBT membership, right? In terms of, I think it's just showing you that you believe in yourself, that you believe in the commitment, that you have an opportunity. Maybe it gives you maybe a bit of a different drive because you have that membership. And we'll be honest, the membership enables you to collect points for part of their ranking system, and like you just never know. So obviously we're eager to kind of evolve the sport for her, but obviously 10 memberships out of total memberships that occurred, which from what I understand are increasing right now. I would just highly encourage any female who's playing the tour to give them some incentive and belief to purchase a membership and support the tour.
I think we all just have to remember we can, like, any one of us can go out and shoot.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, we're going to bring in Stacy to talk a little bit about a fantastic group of women who are helping to increase that in the sport. Hello.
Welcome, Stacy.
How are you?
You guys are doing a wonderful job.
Thank you, Stacy.
I mean, I got a little teared up that last little pod, well, twice, Jennifer and Michaela, but
yeah,
really, I mean, I was a little teared up because, her background is really bad downstairs. For whatever. So, we get a little map here because it's a little bit better than a Yankees symbol, but
yeah, it's a lot better than the Yankees symbol, but we're not judging her. No, she was incredible on the podcast. We are so happy to have her, and we're happy to have you.
Awesome. I'm glad you guys
Um,
got this going. I'm really glad. Like, I think this is probably this is a good sign for the future. Just this alone.
yeah, we are honestly really happy to have you, a member of the Fab Five, and just wanted to maybe, express like who the Fab Five is, if nobody really knows what it, who are they, what was their original mission, and what's the vision moving forward.
All right. Well, for I guess those people that don't know, the Fab Five is Maria Wood. So if you don't know Maria, she runs with Mark Miller the Autumn Open at Paradise, but she's the Calgary 5-pin president too. We have Karen Armstrong from Winnipeg. We have Shauna Piri Lezenez.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Shauna, if I got that wrong. Tracy, yourself, and myself. We ended up being the built Fab Five a couple years ago
Mm-hmm.
during a random podcast in August. We were just watching the podcast and it was like, hey, I would donate $100. Well, I would donate $100. And then we just kind of grew together to support women playing on the WCBT tour, whatever that meant, which none of us, I don't think we knew kind of what it meant. We didn't really know how to promote it or what we should be saying. We just thought, here's a pool of money and let's hope some women get
See
involved.
what happens.
Right?
Yeah.
Let's get more women involved. So I think like our very first vision was to encourage women to be involved in the WCBT tour, playing the cash events. We had, I don't even know, probably a couple of years ago, I have no idea how many women played, but now to see 33 women, that means that I think that it was successful, that we have 33 women that showed up for the Autumn Open, right? So that was kind of our vision at that point in time. I think, our vision right now is changed a little bit in the sense of how we want to go forward and how we want to push the females to stay engaged and stay involved at an elite level, right? Like to play in these things, to have the opportunities to make the cuts, to have this exact same practice at match play pressure situations that the men get. Do you know what I mean? Like when you see a cut and you see one woman out of 31 women or 31 men, one woman is getting that same opportunity that 31 men are getting, right? With those accelerated shots, with those different thoughts, with those different breaks or whatever it is, how they practice for it, whatever, right? So I think that we're trying to come to more of a concise, like, whether it's an event, just to put it, to make more, and I don't want to say equal playing fields because I don't like to say that, but to provide more for women, right? To keep encouraging that we get these numbers, like 33 at the Autumn Open is phenomenal. Like
Right.
Who would have even thought? When I ran the Autumn Open at Toppler, it was like 4. Right. So I think we have like a vision of us coming together right now. And I don't want to go a lot into the details as to what would be the future, but I think that we are leaning towards right now a female only end of season event, like not in the summertime. I'm thinking we're probably looking at the end of April and having a female only cash event, but with details to come, because these things take time and planning, and we have a whole lot of great women that have a lot of good ideas, but we need the women that are watching today to maybe bounce some ideas to us too.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. Obviously, thank you for being the voice on behalf of Fab Five. And,
Absolutely.
I think this journey with us started with like, we thought maybe some funding could encourage participation or increased participation, but now we're realizing, I don't know, for whatever reason, that the increased participation is just happening. I think it is a combination of a lot of different things. I think it's just all of the hard work that WCBT has put in, 5-Pin Universe has put in, streaming at events like Masters, or commentary at Masters, or streaming the Open. I mean, you could go on and on and on. And I think we didn't really know how to communicate well with probably the people that we should have been leaning into at the time. And so it was almost like kind of last minute where, oh my goodness, we haven't done anything for Regina. What can we do, like, as an example for Regina? And then the team actually said, okay, we want to do something. And it's 2 days maybe it was probably the Wednesday before Regina. We're like, who's got money? How much money do we have? Can we put it in? And how do we want to use it? And, we gave away a couple of entries for Regina that, benefited some women. And we're really proud that we were able to kind of share that equity and be able to support people. But now I think we're kind of pivoting a little bit in terms of like, how do we have the advocates within our bowling community to kind of leverage the women's interest,
keep them
and
engaged.
where do we take it next? And I think, obviously we're struggling to kind of noodle what that looks like. And, obviously we want, people to lean in us, but we feel like we also need some advocates to help us, because I think we want to be involved in something that is so much more than we could even imagine. And I think a good example of that is what the WCBT has accomplished, what 5-Pin Universe has accomplished, what the Pro League has accomplished that includes women. And so we're just trying to figure it out. So, be inquisitive. I think we're trying to be inquisitive to try to understand what that could mean in our journey. Sometimes I think we want to run before we walk. So it's okay for, people who are supporting us in our journey to kind of, temp us down, because we're like a couple racehorses out of the gates, and we're, wanting to go fast and hard. But I do think there is something more that could be, for her. And I also, I know, Stacey, this is your platform, but I'm like Fab Five and I just can't stop myself right now. So I just apologize.
She's on a roll, guys. She's on a roll.
I'm just apologizing right now. But I just think it's really important for all of those learnings that we share the learnings and that we support each other, and that, I just think there's something bigger. I know what I wanted to say. I wanted to thank the men, all the men on the tour. And the reason I want to do that, like the women too, because they push me every single day. I just competed at Masters, and, I wasn't my best this past weekend, but it's a nice reminder for myself that you always have to work at the game, that you have to be positive, like just keep working. And we all have our moments that are not easy, and it's easy to give up. But there are a lot of men on the tour, right, who are always standing beside us. They're always teaching us. They're always like positive, supporting. And so I also want to thank the men, because I think it's critical. We learn from the men. I know I do. Some women like Baker and Jennifer, they just tick like men. I don't necessarily always tick like, the thinking of Karen Armstrong's another one that's fierce. So I learn from them. I learn how they display themselves, how they're playing match play, how they're taking time, or like some who don't take any time, like Len and Seth. They do that for a very reason that is particular to how their game ticks. So anyways, thank you guys. We're learning every single day. So the stage is yours now, Stace. I'm so sorry.
It's okay, because we're on the same team, and I
I
Yeah, you're
know.
both Fab Five.
here,
It's all
right?
good.
We have, like, you know, our Fab Five group chat, which is amazing, and you know, I have little things written down, like, of all these different notes. I mean, I really can't thank the two of you enough for really pushing to get this podcast, because it's really going to encourage. I mean, what if you have that, like, maybe 210 or 215 average woman that just is not sure, right? Like, we're trying to come together, which is why I think the Fab Five is trying to put out this just 1 year event, like one time event this year, to, you know, bring us together, to just to see the community that we have is, it's on a next level, right? And I know I watched you, Tracy, at nationals. Katie, I bowled with you and bowled against you tons of times at provincials, and I know, like, I mean, I've seen Michaela bowl at nationals. Like, there's just this really good female community, and we just really want to keep that together. And what's the next level maybe that we can take it to? And it's, you know, I guess, I don't know, was it Rome wasn't built in a day? Same thing, right? And thank you, Carrie Kreitz, so much for all of the stuff and information and stuff that you gave us over the past couple of weeks, because, you know, the WCBT wasn't built overnight. 5-Pin Universe wasn't built overnight. And look at the success that they have, right? So we do have really good guidance. And I'm with you, Trace. There's so many supportive men that want to see the women that were probably more excited for this podcast than anything, because nobody wanted to see Tim and Dex. So, you know, so that plays into it as well. Like, you know, well, come on. But the future is very bright, and really, like, without going into, because we don't have a whole lot of details, but I'm fairly certain that Tracy and I, for Fab Five and our Fab Five group, could say that there's going to be a year-end event. And what it looks like at this point, it's on paper right now. It's on paper, and there's, you know,
and napkins and
really good females involved, and you know, like, maybe your next podcast in a month, we'll have more information details for it. I'm sure we will, but you know, we just need to stay together and build this community, because there's so much more that we can put out there. There's so much more we can push to do. And I think that we have this. And this is the first step.
Yeah. I think it's just incredible that we have people who want to be ambassadors in our sport and want to take on that challenge of creating the what's next for the female players. And I think that's,
we have so many female ambassadors across this country to lean on and to help and support, that it shouldn't be hard. It should be easy.
Yeah.
I think too, when interest is so high and participation is higher than it's ever been, there's no greater time for us to kind of figure out, like, the evolution of what's next for her. I think that's important to say, because I think the WCBT, the Pro League, 5-Pin Universe, they're all on an amazing trajectory. I mean, I want to be a part of all of those associations in every capacity. Yeah. But I also want the next evolution for her and what that could look like for her, right? So I'm an advocate of all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think everything comes hand in hand when you look at, I mean, there's so many different, I mean, when you go from YBC to the Open to Masters, WCBC, there's so many, we should all be working hand in hand, and there's so many benefits to every single one. And, you know, I think that our Fab Five group will pull from all of those, because we've been fortunate in, you know, having a lot of female inspirational women that have sat on boards, that have helped out, that have played a lot, that can provide us with details. But really, I know that Tracy and I talked a lot, and Sheena Owens and Annette Bruneau, about, you know, we need to hear from the community too. You know, what kind of works for females, and maybe dates or maybe events, whatever it is, right? We're open to hearing, and we want to hear it. We want to hear
all the input,
right? So, well, I'm excited. I'm excited. Our Fab Five group is excited. We're ready to make a little just maybe a little right turn and
See what happens.
see what happens. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I know one of the things that Tracy and I have talked about is making sure that we include a Fab Five segment to get kind of updates of what you guys are working on and things throughout our podcast. So I'm looking forward to the next time we can have one of you on and give us the next step. What's going on in next month?
You know, you never know.
You never
You
know.
never know what's going to happen in the next
A
month.
mystery.
You can ask the next Fab Five member, but I would like to be a diver or a synchronized swimmer, just so you know.
Oh,
I could totally see you in a one-piece
Yeah.
swimsuit.
all
So
up in
awesome.
there.
Thanks, Stace.
Thanks so much for
you,
joining
guys.
us tonight.
Okay. Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Oh, out and in. Wow, that's
It's a lot
incredible.
of content for tonight, right?
That was a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like almost at the end of our show.
Recap it, Katie.
We've talked about all the things that have happened in the past month. Looking forward and looking ahead, we have TPC coming up. We have some incredible things happening at TPC, the Ladies Invitational. I know you and I are both playing in the Ladies Invitational along with Michaela, Jenna Lamoureux, Alyssa Campbell's coming out from Manitoba, Chantel is coming out all the way from Quebec, Heidi from Edmonton, and there's a mystery spot that's filled. To be determined. I've been hearing some whispering. They might not know yet, but they might be in. So stay tuned to find out who that 8th spot is. And we already have 32 females signed up to play TPC.
Amazing, right? Amazing. Also up over last year.
Also up from 20. Last year there was 20 females coming.
Yeah, just the increased participation. Just want to thank you, ladies. Keep pushing, keep pushing yourselves. It's amazing. Can't wait to see what happens at the TPC.
Yeah. So other than that, we are so excited. We got the go ahead to say every 3rd Wednesday, we will be on your podcast screens.
I'm super excited. We've got so many ideas to share, once a month. We can't even keep up with all of the ideas that Katie and I have. And if anybody's got, ideas out there and you want to hear about something unique or different, like just lean into Katie and I. We're happy
Send
to
us
start.
messages. We want to hear everything that's going on in the country. We want to hear who's throwing big, what's going on, and any ideas you have for future shows.
Yeah.
And just like a big thank you to 5-Pin Universe and Carrie for trusting us with your baby and letting us take this on and giving us the go ahead to just do it however we wanted. And we really appreciate the faith you put in us to be that voice. So
podcast episode 1
done. We did it.
Thank you everyone for tuning in.
We will see you all next month.
Thanks, Katie.
You too. Bye.
Bye.